and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast, live once again from the Omni Providence in lovely Providence, Rhode Island. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
I'm Todd Pleasant.
I'm Brian Mix.
And I'm Derryl DePriest.
Believe it or not, all five Regular Joes in one place at the same time. Brian flew out from L.A. Derryl, I don't know where he lives anymore,
Flew
but
in from Chattanooga this morning.
Yeah,
Derryl came in from an undisclosed location.
exactly. So we're all in one place. Believe it or not, our most frequent guest is this Mike Quinn from
No.
the Nien Nunb? No, it's not.
Nope.
Just a dude
No.
that looks like him. Never mind. So yeah, we're here in the lobby. You've missed a beehive of activity as we tried to set up.
We always say that there was great, just like we have pre-show gold when we record the regular show. There's pre-show lobby gold.
I don't know.
We don't.
There's
get.
pre-show. Oh, here's Mick Foley. Is that Mick Foley?
I can't see who it is.
Not too many people look like
Mick
that.
Foley's from Long Island.
Okay. And King Tut is there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some type of pharaoh-ish character here.
There's going to be, if you haven't listened to these Rhode Island shows before, it's very disjointed, a lot of distractions, and maybe, you never know, we get someone
And
cool
our
to
heads
sit
are
down.
constantly on a swivel. 'Cause
Exactly. Head
we're
on a
looking
swivel,
at the door.
everybody.
We're looking at what's going on. We're trying to see who these people are.
Yeah. So as we sat here, yeah, we almost had Lou Ferrigno, although, as you know, he's dead to me, but he went to sleep.
As we covered in the original intro to the show, that's it, Dave.
he dissed
Before
he
Derryl
dissed Dave
literally
again.
kicked people out of a seating arrangement so that we could have it. Yeah.
We could have our usual spot.
Our usual spot.
Which has been our spot every year here at the beautiful Omni
We're
Providence.
back in prime position and
We
ready
are.
to go.
Oh, there's dogs.
There
Hey,
are dogs
dogs.
in the lobby. This is a
There
pet-friendly
are a
hotel.
lot of
We
dogs
saw-
at this show.
We must have seen a dozen dogs at the show today. I don't know what's going on, but there's a
And there's
lot of
pets,
dogs.
too.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
Ah,
But
sorry.
service animals and different things.
Comfort
so-
animals and all
comfort
that kind of
animals,
stuff.
all that good stuff.
Emotional support animals.
support
Yes.
animals.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So, like, well, not you didn't hear what I said before because we're not using that part, but we're recording on a Friday night. We normally record on a Saturday night, but last year they have after parties in this hotel, and I think everyone avoided the lobby because they knew there's all these people at the after parties. So
By everyone, he means famous people. Avoid
the
party.
famous people
Yeah.
just avoid
Basically,
the lobby.
if you took chaos, put it in a blender with a bunch of annoying people, that's what happened last year.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was I will stop short of calling it a disappointment because we had a great time anyway, but as podcasting goes, it was not our best Rhode Island
Yeah.
ComicCon
It definitely
podcast.
was not.
Because the famous people were avoiding the lobby. I'm looking at the two dogs. Someone's petting them. That's fascinating, but maybe tonight it won't be so bad. So anyway, let's why don't we recap? Went to the show for a couple hours. Brian actually just got in later because he's coming all the way from LA. But we went to, believe it or not, Barry had to have like 11 people sign his posters.
Wait. Now, 11 might be an exaggeration. It was probably 9, right?
It was 7.
It was actually 6, and I settled on 5. So
And-
yeah, but
Okay.
you guys are
We've
so
only
let's-
heard of
Let's hear who you passed
5
on.
of them.
Go ahead, Barry. Tell us who you passed on.
No, I don't think we'll do that, but I will say.
Oh, at least tell us what posters you had
Right.
signed.
So, and as I believe we've mentioned before on the show, I've got a Terminator 2 poster that's signed by a few members of the cast, and Robert Patrick has eluded me for years. Every
has.
time he's scheduled to be at a show that I'm going to, he cancels. So the fact that he was going to be at this one, I kept checking literally every day to see if
Every
he got
day he was
canceled.
checking every minute
Has he
today
canceled?
while he
Has
was
he
looking.
Canceled? Has he canceled?
And
Yeah.
these guys were teasing me that he was going to see me coming and run like the Terminator, and I was going to have my arms turn into blades and chase after him. But lo and behold, he was here, and I got to get him to sign my poster. And it's actually pretty funny because there was a kid online before me who dressed up as the Terminator, the police uniform. He had the gunshots on his chest, and he had made a fairly cheesy but good try at like the metal hands that
out of cardboard.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
cardboard. And he painted one leg silver to look like the Terminator.
If you would like to actually see
not
this,
super artistically inclined, but an awesome
he
effort.
put a
really.
lot of
Great
effort
effort.
into it.
It was a great
If you'd
effort.
actually like to see this dude, you go to Robert Patrick's Instagram.
Yes, because Robert Patrick at one point said to the kid, "Hey, I want to get a picture with you. Somebody take a picture," and handed me his personal cell phone to take a picture. And then I guess one of the assistants behind the table saw that and was like, "Oh, I'll take the picture."
Was that after or before you took like 6 dick pics
So
of
I-
yourself?
I said, "I guess you don't trust me with his phone." But in any case, so he signed it, and it was all good. And he told a story about how he cut his hand on those things when he was climbing on the back of the car, and he was.
But he was super engaging. He must have talked.
He
talked to the guy before the kid
Yep.
for 10 minutes. He talked to the kid for at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, he was super engaging
totally,
with people.
and he was joking around the whole time, and we were laughing. And so then he signed my poster, and he put a quote from the movie on it, which was great. And then he said, "Don't waste." He said, "Don't waste your money trying to get Arnold Schwarzenegger on this poster. You'll ruin it."
Some guy's choking to death over there,
Did
but that's
he
okay.
hint if he's in the new movie at all?
He
Do we
didn't.
know?
And
He
I was going
didn't.
to ask him.
He's got to have a
but
cameo, right?
I would think he probably
Or maybe
shows up.
CG him has a cameo?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. But he was actually a lot of fun, more fun than I had expected him to be. So
Yeah, he took no worry about how many people were lined up, and that, in a good way of totally engaging with people, and that's always nice to see.
When you look around the floor here, it shows like this. There's people that have a long line because they're super hot at the moment, and then there's people with no line whatsoever, and then you get people with a long line because they're spending 5 minutes talking with every person, and those are the people that are giving the premium experience. Those are the things that people are going to remember forever and tell their friends about. So you could blow through everybody in 30 seconds, piece, and sit there by yourself and looking at people walk
So Beverly
by,
D'Angelo,
or do what he
ladies
did.
and gentlemen.
It is Beverly D'Angelo. It is.
From Vacation,
From the Vacation
and
movies.
other stuff.
Oh. Okay,
and
well-
what else was she in? She's talking to some fans.
We should see if we can
You
get
should.
her to come over here and be on our show.
Yeah, we should
I
do that.
have no idea what to ask her, but this is where you bear with us if we're talking to people. And
Even if we could just get her to say hello.
was
that
she
would be
married
great.
to like Al Pacino or something? Or no?
Really?
No, I don't know. I don't know where
I
I'm
don't
getting
think
that.
so.
I totally made that up. She's going out the front door.
Beverly!
What's going on? Hi.
You want to come and say hi?
We're doing a
we are recording
podcast.
a
You like
podcast.
podcasts at all?
Hello, Regular Joe. This is Beverly D'Angelo, and I want to say hello to everybody on the podcast. But who am I talking to? Everybody.
You're
Everybody,
talking
in
to everybody on the
podcasting.
internet.
Yes.
I'm here at the Rhode Island ComicCon convention. I'm having a great time, and you know why? It's because the fans
Yes.
of the vacation movies are really good people. They're nice people. They're mentally stable. So all the incoming is very, very cool, and I'm having a great time. There's my friend Alex.
Oh, your voice makes me melt. I'm sorry. So I know we're supposed to be mentally.
And you want to hear something bizarre? I have never booked a commercial. I've never booked. I've done some voiceovers, but listen to this: insurance for you. Don't you want to be safe? I want you to be safe. Call Allstate. Why aren't I? You know what I mean? Or
I don't
wait
know.
a minute,
You're the
wait a
best.
minute. Wait a minute. Lima beans, high in vitamin C. Get some today. You know what I mean? Okay. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I didn't hear a word of that.
I
but
didn't
I'll
hear a
listen back
word
on
she
the
was
podcast.
saying.
When you heard it, it's awesome.
Okay, that's great.
Her voice just, oh my gosh.
So, that's terrific. It is a little noisy.
Oh,
in
here
here,
Jonas. Wait, here comes Jonas. And Ethan Peck.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
but-
Jonas! Whoa,
Ethan
whoa, whoa.
Peck!
What's up, guys? Come on.
How you doing?
You guys are crossing the streams. You can't cross the streams. Star Trek and Star Wars crossing the streams.
How you doing? Good.
How are you guys?
Good.
Do you have 2 seconds to sit down and talk to us?
Fortunately, I have to get going, but
Okay.
But guys, I see you're doing great work here. You have a little mixer there.
Yeah, we got the whole thing going.
Your audience is enjoying this.
Can you give us one Chewbacca growl?
Well, I shouldn't, but
Awesome.
Fantastic.
You're
Have a
awesome,
good evening.
Jonas.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this is already more action than we had last year on the
Yeah.
lobby. So that's we didn't even talk about meeting him earlier in the day. So
he just
translated to you're listening to the regular show.
yeah, that's right.
You guys didn't hear it, but Beverly D'Angelo just did a commercial for you. So when you hear it
that's
back
terrific.
again, that she did a
That's-
great
that's
drop in
terrific.
for you.
awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to
So-
hear it.
I know we couldn't. It's tough to hear around here.
So now, while we got Jonas, Ethan took off. We met both of them earlier today.
I don't know if everyone even knows. So who was that? And
I'm not going to butcher his last name, but it was Jonas, the guy that's played Chewbacca in the last 4 Star Wars movies.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he took over from Peter Mayhew.
and he was very. He gave us a couple seconds here, which was nice of him.
Yeah.
So you guys ran into him earlier today?
We met him earlier today.
Because one of the 19 posters I had signed was I had him sign a solo poster.
Oh, okay.
And he does a really cool signature because he draws in a little Chewbacca
Are we
head
okay?
on the end of it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, one of the things when Barry was in line to see him, he did one of the coolest things that I've ever seen somebody do at one of these shows. A woman was there. She got something signed. She said her son couldn't come for whatever reason, and she had him FaceTime with her son right at the
that's
table.
great.
There.
Yeah,
And
it was
just,
awesome.
And he made Chewbacca noises, and
And he was
it
explaining who he was because
because the kid didn't know.
the kid was expecting to see Chewbacca.
Yes, exactly. And he explained. Yeah, but it was very, very cute and very cool.
Now, you mentioned before the premium experience, and this was something I'd never seen before, but at his table, he was actually charging more for what they called the premium autograph, which I've not seen anybody do before, and I'm wondering if this is going to become a new thing.
Well,
but
we see that in the send-ins. I mean, where they charge different for an 8x10 as
I've
opposed
just
to a
never heard it
poster.
referred to as a premium.
Yeah.
So that's,
well,
that's
I
with a
feel-
little drawing that
explain
goes
to
with it, or
No, it was if you had him sign an 8x10 photo, it was a regular priced autograph. If you had him sign memorabilia, which they listed as action figures, posters, or prop replicas, then that was a slightly higher price point.
But that
So-
is what's
so
going on in Star Wars
So this
Yeah.
is my
autographs.
They're giving you a photo. You're getting a photo and a signature on the photo. So they're providing a photo to you, but it costs more to not have them provide a
Right.
photo.
I think this
Right,
is all
exactly.
about the
You
resale
were-
value
yeah.
on eBay.
Bad
Yeah,
mouthing
I think
the
so.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Absolutely.
want to add to this podcast that I truly love anybody who loves me. That's for real. So if you're listening in to the Regular Joe's podcast, know that this is Beverly D'Angelo sending love out for anybody who loves me and who loves the Regular Joe's podcast.
Fantastic.
Great. Thank you.
So I don't know
Well,
what's
that
going
made my
on
trip to
now.
LA worth it right there.
Dave just got dragged off by some guy in shorts and sneakers. So I don't know what's going on.
He doesn't look
Anyways.
like a hotel manager.
No, he does not.
No,
So
he certainly doesn't.
I'm not
I'm wondering
sure.
if he's with the show.
That's more likely.
So he almost
Yeah.
seems like he might be a
Shorts and sneakers are not your
Claims-
managerial.
Yeah.
So we've always had that. What if this is the year we get kicked out of the lobby?
Yeah,
thing?
we'll see.
So we'll keep going. So like Beverly can't get enough of us. She just keeps coming back and adding more onto the podcast, which is great. Couldn't hear any of it.
Yeah. So
are we
So-
getting
so-
chastised for
Well,
hassling?
We'll find out as we go
celebrities?
along. So other people you talked to today, Barry?
Yes. So we've met Jonas, and then at the table next to him was a guy named Spencer Wilding or Wielding. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, but was Darth Vader in Rogue One.
Yep.
And we also saw a pretty cool thing.
Very
that
big dude.
Very big dude. We saw a cool thing he did with a kid at his table. The kid, it was a really little kid who had a Darth Vader helmet that he wanted him to sign, and then Spencer picked him up and put him on his shoulders, which, as a tall dude, made this kid up very high, and then was taking pictures with him. So that was a lot of
That's
fun.
great. So before we get too far away, the guy who plays Chewbacca, someone walked in with him. Who was that
That
walked
was
in with
Ethan
him?
Peck. So you
So
want to
Ethan
take that
Peck,
one?
He played Spock on Discovery.
I did not
last
recognize
season.
him at all.
And no, you wouldn't.
No.
And we talked to him today, and he was terrific and very engaging. And he said not so likely tonight, but he might stop down and see us tomorrow. So
So do you
That's
wanna tell us-
unlikely.
do you want to tell us what just happened?
No, I guess this guy works for the show and is wondering what we're doing here. And I guess someone sent him over to say, hey, find out what those guys are doing. Are they here, officially with the show, or what's the story? And I said, no, we've been here 7 years. We like the show. He goes, if guests start to hear that they're being harassed, or tell them that they're being harassed in the lobby, they may blame the show if they don't like it. And I'm like, that's cool. I said, is it okay if we just record for ourselves? He says, yeah, that's fine. So,
well, did somebody say we were harassing guests?
No, I guess somebody saw us talking and thinking maybe we are harassing the guests.
Okay.
I could see if you were running a show and there were some, I'll say jerks, not us, in the lobby harassing guests, you would want to stop that because guests would stop coming to your show. I can see that. I can see their point.
We've literally been here where we've seen people standing here asking for free autographs of celebrities. We've never done that ever.
You just have to be the friendly podcast, not the jerk podcast.
It's a kind of adapting, evolving thing.
I probably shouldn't have given him our card. He said, "Oh, we'll have our press person reach out to you, and maybe you can do something, for the show."
Maybe,
but that's fine. But we're fine to record as long as we don't harass anyone.
Okay.
I don't think saying, "Hey, do you want to record?" is harassing.
No, I would say it's not. Anyway, so we talked about meeting Jonas earlier and Spencer. We were starting to talk about
Ethan. About Spencer? I didn't know you.
Well, you were
I wasn't okay. That's good. I just want to make sure. There was no yelling.
No? Okay. All right, good. So, anyway, you want to talk about Ethan? Because Ethan was with Jonas.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, I pretty much think we did. Dave and I talked to him. We got some autographs.
Yeah, he was like literally the first guy we saw when we walked in, and he was awesome. He was super friendly.
He was wearing a cool T-shirt that said, "I like science."
Yes. Yeah.
But he was totally engaging. It was very much like the Jason Isaacs conversation that we had a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Like, just because Todd, what was the thing you said? Oh, so he has a bunch of pictures, and we got his autograph, and Todd's like, I don't know what picture, and he's like, I'm glad they fixed your sideburns, and he went into like. For the short treks,
in short treks, they'd done the eyebrows wrong.
He was like, I'm like, you're not supposed to tell us that. He's like, it doesn't. It's okay.
But no, he seemed like a really good dude, and he was very into the character. He was, we told him that we would love to see a Pike and Spock and #1 show, and he said he would love to see that too, and that CBS was well aware of that they've gotten a lot of feedback to that end, and again, hopefully something like that will happen.
No, it was a good dude. I think in this day and age, a lot of these celebrities are more engaging because the ones who are sort of put their head down and just sign the thing, it gets out there that they're that way.
Well, and it's, we were here early, so we had gotten here when the show had pretty much just opened. The large crowds hadn't really gotten here yet, so it's not like he had 1,000 people online at that point waiting for his autograph. It was a smaller group of people. So he could talk more. He wasn't having to keep the line moving.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I think
full picture of what's going on here right now.
There's a giant pickle in the lobby.
Pickle outfit just wandered into the lobby.
That is a Rick and Morty costume.
Is it?
Okay.
It's Pickle
I kind
Rick.
of feel like that person was more a threat to the guests than us. But anyways, continue.
I think modern actors are more used to the fan experience. It's like in the olden days they were afraid of fans, and now they realize they come to these shows that they're just going to get loved.
Well, the ones that come to things like this get it, I think.
Yeah,
most of them really get it.
On the East Coast, there was a convention called Shore Leave. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Shore Leave.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Star Trek convention.
Yep.
And who's the actor who played #1? The actor who played #1 on Star Trek.
Oh, you mean Jonathan Frakes?
Frakes.
I thought you meant the
which
original
#1 you meant? Yeah.
Yeah, more than one.
Yeah.
Jonathan Frakes came to Shore Leave and went, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And started telling all the other people on the set, you got to come to this show. And now Colomini goes to the dances, and all the Next Generation people realize these shows can be fun. And I think as these younger stars are coming up, it's part of the experience. You got to go to ComicCon. You got to go to these shows.
These people are also in a social media era where the positive interactions that they have with people just kind of spread, and they're being promoted in this way. When you take a selfie at a table, it's not just something that, if we did this going at a Star Trek convention 25 years ago, we'd go with our Polaroid and take a picture of somebody who was there. That'd go on the wall.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Our house.
Oh yeah.
I feel I can't harass anybody.
Thousands and thousands of people see it, and it's promotion.
Yes, you're not just appearing in front of the people at the convention. You're appearing in front of 20,000 other people as well.
That's Anthony Michael Hall, folks, right over there.
So,
Which you can't harass him. If he harasses us, it's
right.
okay.
He comes by like Beverly did, but he's not
Hey, Anthony
going.
Hey.
Hall. How you doing?
What's up, man?
We're recording a
podcast.
Beverly D'Angelo just came and talked to us. You want to say hi?
Just don't say we harassed anybody.
Yeah.
Say it again?
Don't say we harassed you at all because
These
they're-
guys are criminals. I'll never work with them again. And it's great to be here on the Regular Joe's podcast. Because aren't we all Regular Joes? God bless, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.
very
Thank you.
much. All right, two
See,
new
that's
cast
good.
members
This
of
is
vacation.
two cast members from vacation. So
You think we can get Chevy? I don't know.
we're going for the
We're going for the trifecta. We
Going
need
for the
Dana Barron
team.
next.
So
Right?
That was not harassment, right?
No, that was
Anybody?
not.
I have two witnesses.
That was a complete
clearly
drive-by.
not harassment. So
Oh my God, that was fun.
So anyways, but yeah, again, it's a changing time. This is evolving. When we were talking to Admiral Akbar.
Yes,
Tim Rose.
Tim Rose.
Okay, sorry, I never would have got that. So he was.
You mean
talking
Snice
about-
Noodles?
You talked about your two experiences, meeting Carrie Fisher.
Yes,
Which we've talked about on the
we've
show.
talked about it on
Right,
the show
but what I'm
before.
saying is and he kind of said that her mindset changed over the years in interacting with
Yeah.
fans, and she actually talked about that in her book.
Well, and she got into this in early days when this hadn't quite evolved yet, and she started. I mean, she talks about it in her book that towards the end she was really enjoying it, and
Yes.
but partially because she was enjoying the fan interaction, and partially because she was using it as a way to get things that she might not otherwise get.
Right. Yes. Yeah. But also,
But-
but again, if you look at it as a chore, like anything,
Right.
and she, like I said, was, anyways, she enjoyed. You should, if you don't read all of Carrie Fisher's last book, you should at least read Leia's Lap Dance, the chapter
on
because
conventions.
It kind of gives you a textbook example of both what fans are like from the star's perspective, and what how that's perceived by that end. And,
Yep.
and I think it's kind of a primer for people on what not to say to someone who you're getting an autograph from.
Right, because you mentioned the social media thing before and how it's a social media culture now. But one of the funnier things when I was over talking to Robert Patrick was when he took a picture with this kid that was dressed like the T-1000. The kid asked, "Well, can you send me the picture?" And the guy's like, I'm not texting you a picture from my personal phone. And one of the girls at the table goes, "Well, you can post it on social media and then he can grab it." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I can do that." And I sat there for 10 minutes while he figured out how to post it on Instagram, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
But funny at the same. It was nice that he did that. And then actually, we got into a whole conversation about how he had 146,000 followers on Instagram, and The Rock had like 11 million followers.
No, like 150 million.
followers on
Yep.
Instagram.
Some crazy number like that.
But yeah, you end up getting, and we've talked about it all the time when we do this show, but because even though it's a big show, it's a smaller show on the Richter scale of big shows, and you do get more of an interaction with the celebrities at a show like this than you would at something like New York or San Diego Comic-Con.
I was at a celebration in L.A., I forget which number it was, and in the R2 Builders room, we had Anthony Daniels came by to see the R2 Builders room, and he said, "I need to get to my autograph table," and I'm like, "I'll walk you to your autograph table." And I had met him on one of the sets for Return of the Jedi, which is a whole other story I'll get into later. But so we're walking through the dealer's room, and Anthony Daniels is great. He just walks really fast.
Yeah.
I walk fast, and he was ahead of me. And like, this guy's 60, 70 something years old. He's walking really fast. So people go, was that Anthony Daniels? And he's 25 feet away. They can't stop him. And so I'm catching up with him, and he stops dead. It's like, oh, what happened? He's looking down at a little kid who's wearing a cardboard stormtrooper outfit, sand trooper outfit. And he goes, "Did you make that yourself?" He goes, "Yes, I did." He said, "Do you know who I am?" "No." And he goes into the voice. He goes, "I'm Anthony. I'm C-3PO, Human Cyborg Relations." And his dad, who's standing next to the kid, is like, and he goes, "Would you like an autograph?" And the kid goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Come with me." And he takes him off to his table to sign him an autograph for free because he made his own costume. That was
Well,
like,
you know what's
what
funny
a great,
is that Anthony
great
Daniels
guy.
Yeah,
has
that's
a bit of a
awesome.
reputation for not always being the friendliest guy in the world. At
He was
conventions.
awesome with us.
When we saw him at last celebration, he was awesome. I agree. But when you hear a story like that, it just kind
I've
of,
had nothing but incredibly great.
but
interactions
when
with
you
him.
hear these things too, there's a story on both sides.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, and we could have complained. We spent a lot. It was the longest I've spent in line for anything in a long, long time. What was it, like 2.5 hours we spent?
About
total?
2 hours, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like we could have come away from that experience and just complained about how long we were in line and how he left when we were 10 people away from
we were
us.
10 people away from getting our autographs, and he left for an hour and a half.
But when he came back, he made up for it. He was terrific.
He did.
At that same show, we went to wrangle him to go bring him to the R2 Builders room, and he was going to do a performance on stage, and so the guys wanted to get him. I was like, let's go backstage and go grab him. I do that stuff all the time for work, for trade shows, so I just walk backstage, and there's Anthony Daniels, and his handler's like, what are you doing here? Oh, we're here to take him to the R2 Builders room, and Anthony goes, oh, I really want to see that, but after the show. And then he was literally walking through his whole stage show rehearsing in the back, and it's like, we stood back because that's the whole thing. You don't bother him when he's working.
Yep.
Right? And you say, we're here to help you. We'll come get you at the end of the show. And then you just step back, and they put us in the front row. We watched the show, and he was fantastic to us.
Yeah.
But don't bug him when he's working.
Yeah.
There are a lot of very intense people at these shows, and boundaries are not always recognized or even acknowledged. And I think that a lot of what people describe, I mean, I can remember going to, we took all this before, but going to comic shows when I was a kid and getting either sketches or autographs from different people that I really admired. And I will always remember the people who like never looked up and just were like, next kind of thing. And that was, there weren't autograph shows like there are now then. But again, you always remember that thing. Yeah. And it's important to people. And it's about recognizing that. And
who else did you get today, Barry?
Right. So I was just
let's finish up the Tim Rose story because that was interesting.
Right. So we were talking with Tim. He was signing my Return of the Jedi poster, and he started telling us about when he was on the set of The Last Jedi. Not our favorite movie, but we were saying to him how we really wished that we thought that they didn't send him off properly.
We said someone, and I don't know who it was. Maybe the most bitter said, they really didn't do you justice. Maybe it was me.
Maybe it was you. And so we were talking, and he was telling us, he's like, yeah, well, we filmed that whole sequence when they killed Akbar, and they would obviously, he wasn't in the suit because it was all stuntmen at that point, but he was describing a very graphic explosion scene where
one might say grisly
with practical effects of people on
bodies
wires and stuff
being
like
yanked
bodies
across
being
the set, and
yeah,
explosions, and the heat was so hot that they couldn't get the Akbar mask off of the stuntman. They had to cut it off.
They waited until it cooled down.
It was so hot. That's how
the exterior
all this practical effects.
So he's telling us this whole great sequence, and then again, according to him, when the Disney execs saw it, they said, "Oh, that's too graphic. We can't use that.
We can't use that."
But they really didn't do him justice. Yeah, which I mean, they A, shouldn't have killed him, and B, it just was not. Let's not go down that road.
I said it a million times, but if they were going to have somebody fly their ship into the Star Destroyer, it should have been him. Give him a noble ending, and don't just kill him off screen. But
as much as I like the new movies, it feels so much like, here's a character you love, let's kill them.
Yes, but we acknowledge that character existed, so that's fan service. People should be happy.
Yeah, fan service,
and
they're dead.
Supposedly now his son
it's Luke Skywalker. Oh well, not so much.
Sorry,
they've got a character, Mon Calamari, that they're saying is his son now in the new movie.
Oh, that's
wait,
wonderful.
like Akbar's son?
Akbar's son.
That's nice.
Akbar Jr.
Son or nephew or something.
That's awful. They just don't even get me started.
Well, that's JJ's way of saying you screwed up, Brian. You shouldn't have killed this character off.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. You look at this new trailer. It's like it's sweeping away the remnants of the Last Jedi.
It's trying.
All those big storylines that we introduced. Forget it. We're restoring the greatness of Star Wars.
God, I hope so. So let's see. After that, I met a guy named Bill Hargraves, who was a prop master on some of the early Star Wars movies and built IG-88, so that's kind of what he's here saying he's known for. But when you start talking to him, he built a ton of stuff. I think that they promote him as IG-88 because they do all the bounty hunters, so they wanted an IG-88. And while he did build that, I think he's done a ton of other stuff. So another guy who, I got him to sign my everybody signed poster. Super nice guy. I almost kind of ended our conversation. I could have probably stayed and talked to him for another 20 minutes. Like, he was very engaging and
the guy before you was there for half an hour.
Yeah,
it
'cause-
looked
Yeah,
like.
Dave and I spent a lot of time watching the guy before Barry have a lengthy conversation with someone.
That guy had a book filled with autographs he's gotten over the last 10 years,
Yeah.
and Bill wanted to look at every one of them and hear
Really?
the stories of where he got them.
Yeah.
And then when he saw my poster, he was asking me a lot of questions about, and he's like, he was saying that a lot of times people will show up asking him to sign something. He goes, well, I could, but I'm on here. I signed it at some point in the past. Like, people lose track of who they even have signatures from.
Wow.
So, but he, another great guy, and I've been going to shows up and down the Northeast and Star Wars conventions all over the country. Never even seen him at one before.
Oh, really? That's
Nope.
interesting.
So he said he doesn't do a lot of shows outside of England. So,
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
so it was great to be able to add somebody who I otherwise wouldn't have ever been able to.
Brian, have you ever thought of making IG-88?
Yes, I've thought of it.
Yeah. Could
but
you maybe whip one up this weekend?
Gordon makes the
Our
heads
friend
for
Gordon
one.
Tarpley makes them.
I know.
the problem is that the head is a jet engine.
It is.
And now that everyone knows that jet engine is an IG-88, they're becoming hard to
So
come
you
by.
can't buy
But they
them.
are castable. People have recast it.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
recastings of them,
Because
but
they're also in the cantina. They're like,
Well, that's right. Well, we might happen to know people that made all of the ones for the cantinas at both Disneyland parks,
Yeah.
Disney and Disney World. So, yeah, and I think that they said that they made 36 or 40 of them.
oh, really?
all
And
told.
especially when IG-11 comes out in
Oh,
The
yeah.
Mandalorian.
now he'll be more famous. 'cause,
Yeah, everyone's
again,
gonna want
droids
one.
aren't the
See,
most
and he moves.
famous.
You have to make one that moves.
And does he talk? Is the thing because
I wonder-
the
I
famous
bet he
droids
talks.
I
talk.
think he's going to talk in this one
He's gotta.
because
Right?
the director of Ragnarok is doing the voice of him.
Oh,
The
really?
Tahiti.
Oh.
I'm going to butcher his name.
Yeah, that's weird. That dude does.
Watiki something.
That dude does all kinds of stuff, right?
Dread.
Judge Dredd, nicely done.
Nicely, and Marty.
And Marty,
Hey,
a
Marty.
very tall Marty McFly.
That was a good Judge
the
Dredd.
really
Yeah.
tall Marty
That was a
McFly.
really good
That's a
Judge
really
Dredd.
tall Marty McFly. I
That's
props
fun.
to being your favorite character, but body
Well, hey,
appropriate, please.
you
Body
can't expect
appropriate.
people to be like 5'3" because that's really what
Well, then
how
he
tall
could've
he
been
is.
Biff.
Huh?
Biff was taller.
Yeah. Well, who wants to be Biff? Biff's a douchebag. I think I've told the story on the show. My brother was Michael J. Fox's costumer on Batteries Not Included. He used to wear a polo.
Your brother?
He worked in the film business a little while.
I had no idea. I
You
knew,
have
I knew your
never
brother
told
was
us
in
the
the
story.
military.
Never
You
told
have
the story?
never
No,
told
you've
us
never
the
told us
story.
the story.
After
Please.
college, me and one of our childhood friends who went to NYU film school, and my brother all lived together. And I guess my brother was working somewhere. He didn't love his job, and then his friend got him a job on a movie because he was in between jobs. It was Batteries Not Included. So he worked for, what's the dude's name? Sidney Pollack's brother is a famous costume guy. Tom, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't remember his name.
Tom Pollock?
He was his.
Sounds like a painter to me.
He was a guy who people like one of those
Jackson Pollock.
Maybe Jackson.
Jackson Pollock. Yeah, he painted stuff. No, so he like Robert Redford.
Yep.
He used him for everything. Michael J. Fox used him for a lot of stuff, and he was his costume assistant. So he would be in charge of all the stuff. They would take boys' size 20 polo button-down shirts and then shorten them by 4 inches. That's yeah.
Seriously. Okay.
That's what he wore.
Okay.
Yeah, but super nice dude from everything
I'm
he told
sure.
me. Yeah.
I'm sure.
So anyway,
So let me see. Was it anybody else?
Bernie Pollock. Thank you,
Bernie Pollock. Darryl looked it up.
Bernie. Yeah, he was like this Robert Redford's costumer.
What are we going to
and
do next year when you don't live in Rhode Island? And who's going to be our wingman?
You're gonna fly out.
I'm gonna have to fly up and see
I
you
thi-
guys.
I think you do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Of course I have to. So
We can
you know,
actually
once a
get 2
year.
rooms instead of all cramming into one.
That's right. Yeah. It will be time.
It'll be the first time one of us doesn't sleep on the floor. In
Wait
8 years.
a minute. You guys stay in one room?
The 3 of us, yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, it's almost impossible to get the deal. The rooms
Oh,
are
wait,
$300 a night.
That's Tim Rose. That's the guy we were just talking about.
Oh, we were just talking about him.
Don't harass him.
I would never harass a single celebrity ever in this hotel.
Never.
And never have I, nor will I ever.
Would you ever? But
that being said, what were we just talking about?
$300 rooms and 2 beds and 3 guys.
So
And
we've always just 3 of us.
We always just did that.
We We bring a
blow-up mattress.
And throw it on the floor, so we're not sharing beds.
I know all the listeners are like, I thought these guys were millionaires from this show.
Podcasting is a lucrative game, but
we sleep in shifts.
That is at all because
old school
some of us have
conventioning.
a
We used to
snoring
all
problem.
share one room.
It's Tim Rose.
Hey, what's up, Tim?
Hey.
We were just talking about
We
you.
were just talking about meeting you earlier today.
All
very,
good.
very,
yes.
very good. Yes.
Do you have 30 seconds to stop by and say hello?
I suppose. Yes. Who are we talking to, though?
We do a podcast on movies, TV, toys, and collecting.
We are the Regular Joe's podcast.
You signed our friend's poster today, so we were. Oh.
Now, you see,
You signed my poster earlier today.
I do these podcasts all the time.
Do you?
And I think nothing of it. And then I did this one, went on YouTube, and I talked about Akbar's final moment on The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, the internet is alight.
Okay.
They're all being abusive to the director.
Well, we were abusive to the director before any of this, so don't worry about it.
We have nothing but respect for Admiral Akbar.
Of course.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
This got in, everybody.
I would like to say about Admiral Akbar that, unlike a lot of the other Star Wars characters, the one thing I can claim is I was the only guy who ever did Admiral Akbar.
Okay.
That's right.
That is awesome.
There's like 10 Boba Fett's from what we see.
Yes.
Yes.
Lots of people play
Exactly.
lots of
Jeremy
characters.
Bullock is the Boba
Jeremy
Fett.
Bullock
Yes,
is
but
Boba
there
Fett.
are
But
other
yes.
people
Yeah.
who get the sign because they
Yeah.
wore the costume.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jeremy was otherwise engaged. Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you think Akbar has become such a beloved character? I worked at
It's
Hasbro.
simple because I'm such a fabulous person.
it's because of your person.
No, I mean they think that anybody can go in these characters, but so much of the person that's hidden inside the suit actually does come out through the suit.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well said.
That,
No.
You know, someone who's taken over a lot of the things now
Yeah. Yeah.
has
Yeah.
been putting a lot of different people in a lot of different characters,
Yeah.
but
Lost some of that
you
continuity.
know, I worked with Jim Henson for years, so I worked with all the original Muppets,
Oh, that's
Really?
terrific.
and I did the new Muppet movies, and I had a very hard time watching
Yeah.
the characters
Right.
because so much, even something as simple as a Muppet, so much of that person is the person behind the puppet. You
Oh,
know?
wonderful.
100%.
Absolutely, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's great. We appreciate you. We love Akbar. We thank you for. You told us a nice little interesting
Can I tell you
anecdote.
about my proudest moment as Akbar?
Oh, yes,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yes, please.
Okay, it's Akbar's final shot in Return of the Jedi. We'd done the whole battle against the Death Star, and Richard Marquand came in. He said, right, we just want to shoot a quick bit with everybody. We want everybody celebrating because we've won the battle and all that. Now, I was just the right age that at that time, I came this close to being drafted to Vietnam. So I had very strong feelings about battles and war
Yeah.
and good things and bad things. And I believe that war is something that we can be proud of, but not something we celebrate.
Yes.
Fair
if
enough.
you know what I mean. You
Yeah,
know the
yeah,
difference
absolutely.
in that. So he wanted me to do this shot where we've won the war, and he wanted Akbar to jump out of his chair and go dancing around the room. And when they turned over the camera, I thought about all of our guys who had died,
Yeah.
all of the guys on the Death Star who was just trying to feed their family but just happened to
Yep.
be on that side of
Yeah,
things
yeah.
and got blown up when that happened. And the weight of the whole thing just sort of pushed the character down into his chair.
Yeah.
And Richard came in and he said, I told you I wanted you to dance up and celebrate. And I said, you got the performance that Akbar wanted to do. If you want somebody to dance up and celebrate, you can put somebody else in the costume.
Bravo.
Wow.
Well done.
Awesome.
And I'm so proud of the fact that they left
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I did in the movie and didn't put somebody in just so they could get Akbar
When they
dancing
saw what
around
they
like
had,
a,
I'm sure that they realized it was the right take.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
they saw it, they realized that was good and they
Yeah.
left it in. So
Yeah.
Yeah. That's absolutely what a leader would do, a general would do. Feel the weight of
true leader.
Those who sacrificed. Fantastic.
But back in those days, we had a lot more input and influence and things than we do now. So.
Now, did you also play additional Mon Calamari in Return of the Jedi as well?
No, Rogue One, I was another Mon Calamari.
Okay.
So I was Sholan.
Okay.
It was funny because he was meant to be from the north of the planet, so it was like
hence the different
eyes.
color. Yes,
fabulous eyes. I really loved the eyes of the character. But when we were filming it, he didn't get a name until Topps had his photographs for Celebration, and they asked Disney, "What's his name?" And they went, it's Sholan, because while we were filming, we all just had serial numbers.
Oh, really?
And it was quite hard because you had the heads and the transmitter for each character to make the heads operate. And you had to keep the two together to know which one did what.
Right.
And it was hard keeping track of all the numbers. So what I signed for Showland on the pictures, my name was actually Milky Bar. Because in England they had the Milky Bar Kid, famous commercial.
That's great.
So that was his actual name on set, and then he got the Showland when they needed to have a name for the...
When you're wearing all that prosthetic, how much of it is you acting the prosthetic, and how much is the remote control people? What do you have control of inside the suit, and what do they have control of?
They operated all the facial features, and then I did the body movements to go along with it.
The mouth opening and closing is you?
In the original Akbar, the close-up, the one that does most of the dialogue, was a Muppet-style hand puppet.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because in those days, we would do full-body suits for establishing shots, but because there was so little space, it was hard to put many mechanics in there.
The technology's gotten better over the years, too.
Yeah. So we did the double. We did half-body double. There was a hand puppet, so I was inside the chest and then operating the mouth with my hand.
Oh, wow. Great.
So the famous line, was that you in the suit, or was that you a hand puppet?
Hand puppet. Yeah.
Really? Oh.
I know.
That's,
I did such a good job, nobody noticed.
You did fantastic. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but now it's carbon fiber helmet and 38 servos, so it's like having your head inside of a cage full of budgies all chirping away while you're trying to listen to the director through this earpiece and listen to the guy running your head through this earpiece. And
wow.
Yeah, it sounds like it's gotten a lot more complicated.
It is.
Yeah.
But what I love about the characters is even the original Akbar, when I was in the full body suit talking about the forthcoming attack, Mike Quinn, who's Nien Nunb, was laying on the floor operating the cable controls for my mouse sync. Because we'd always worked at Muppets.
Yep.
And at Muppets, with the Dark Crystal characters, it could be up to 6 people operating a character all at once. So it's like, well, who should be signing for this character? Because there were 6 people doing it. But what was wonderful about the characters is when you start with one of these animatronic figures, you have to do it by numbers. Okay, when I say this, the eyebrows have to do that, and the cheeks have to do that, and the lips have to do that. But very quickly, the 6 people become one, and you can start ad-libbing, and you can just say whatever you want to, and all 6 people know exactly who this character is and what this character would do in that situation. And that is when the real magic starts to happen, because effectively that character takes on his own life. And that doesn't happen with CG because, that's happening right there on set.
That's so true.
Yeah. And if the actor you're acting with does something different, you can react to them, and your character stays totally alive because everybody knows exactly what to do in that situation. So.
I can relate to that because I've played in bands all my life, and when you start playing in a band, it's all new and everybody's feeling each other out. But the more you get used to each other, you can start improvising in ways, and you can predict what the other guy's going to do, and it just makes a world of difference in
and
the
it's
performance.
That working together.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like a religious experience.
Yeah. Have you been to or heard about the museum in New York where they have the whole Muppet exhibit, the Jim Henson exhibit?
I haven't been to it.
Yeah,
no.
it's wonderful. If you ever get the opportunity, it's at the Museum of a Moving Image in I think it's Brooklyn, right, Dave?
Yeah,
it's in Queens.
Oh, it's in Queens. But yeah, Jim
we had
Henson,
one of those in London, but it shut down. Jim
Henson donated a very large portion of all the puppets. And they've all been restored, and it's wonderful to walk through. It's really cool.
Yeah, he was the days of, I describe him as the days of King Arthur's court. Because Jim, most bosses tell you what to do, and Jim would ask you what you would do.
Really?
And he was really brilliant that way because everybody has ideas. And he would take all of those ideas and he'd go, don't have the money for that one. That would take too much time, but that sounds really good. And he would synthesize the whole thing together. But everybody was involved in that. I describe it as he took a load of nerds, people who didn't really fit in any place else, and he gave us a playpen to play in. And we rewarded him by making him a multimillionaire.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it was a good trade-off for everybody.
Oh, it was great.
That's awesome. Well, we thank you so much for stopping by.
Oh, yeah,
and
we
giving
totally
us a
appreciate
couple minutes
it.
of your
Awesome.
time. It was awesome. We're big Star Wars fans and big fans of the characters. So,
that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're the man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Have
much.
a great
really
night.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of the show. All right. So last year was an anomaly.
That was pretty awesome, I got to
great.
say.
It was
That was really, really
Yeah.
cool.
So of all the lines in Star Wars, in the Star Wars, the Vintage Collection Archive Edition, coming soon.
Yes, we've all
from Blue Milk.
backed it on.
You guys have all backed it. Of all the lines in Star Wars, I had to hide one in the book. So hidden in there somewhere is a reference to It's a Trap. It's not directly. Yeah. So
nice.
You can probably guess which entry it's in, but it's kind of hidden there in plain sight. But you have to look for it a little
I've
bit.
got to go back and look at the movie now and try to spot that half-scale puppet versus the full size. I had no idea.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Half scale? I couldn't hear everything he was saying.
He said many of the lines he did was him puppeteering a half-scale puppet of himself
Really?
rather than the full-size Akbar.
He said the close-ups were a puppet.
Oh, that's
and then the full
super
body
interesting.
shots.
I didn't even realize Tim Rose was in the new movies. That's awesome. They could have CG'd him or, totally mechanical
and
puppets.
I hate to say it, they could have put anybody in the suit, but it was great that they went back
Yeah.
and
That was
got
good.
the original
That was really
actor.
good.
Probably started with JJ.
I'm sure it
And
started with JJ.
not those who should not be
Voldemort.
named.
Yeah.
Voldemort. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thus far we have not been evicted.
We this is the closest we've come because the dude.
It was
But
the first time anybody ever even came and talked to us about anything like that. So
I told him
whatever.
how much we love the show, so that's fine.
We're here. We
So-
love Rhode Island Comic-Con.
So this is we normally record a couple days, but not in the lobby. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But this is Friday night, wrapping up Friday night.
Yeah.
Like the pre-show.
This is the pre-show gold, though.
And we had a great night so far.
Yeah, so we're gonna go experience the show tomorrow. We'll record someplace and
we'll either be back in the lobby or somewhere else if the lobby's not
or
an
in
option
jail.
tomorrow night.
Possibly incarcerated in
and,
short-term basis.
We'll give you the recap of Saturday and let
and
you know.
we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Could be full of surprises.
But the good thing is for you, it's only going to be a few seconds.
That's
right.
exactly it.
And the good thing for us is that it's already been more action in the lobby than all of last year.
Exactly.
So,
So more soon. Okay, so we are here Saturday night. 2 nights. I'm making the 2 symbol with my fingers at the Omni Providence. So we've never done 2 nights
No,
before.
one
We
night
figured-
was good. 2 nights we figured would be better.
And
guess what? It was.
It was, and you'll find out soon enough. So it's Saturday. So we went to the show today. We walked the floor. I got to say, it was Brian and what's his name?
Todd.
And
He's
Barry
Todd.
And myself. And I don't think we've ever taken that long to walk the floor.
We looked at everything. And it was
Um,
great. I had a
it
great
was
night.
nice, slow
great show.
pace. It was nice. We saw some interesting stuff.
And it was nice that it paid off, that we've been telling Brian that this is our favorite show of the year, and he had a great time.
It's
So
a
Well,
really
let's
good
ask
show.
Brian. Did you have a good time?
Across the country to come here. I mean, was this okay?
Oh, it was great, and I got to say that the folks that listen to the Joes, that hanging out with the Joes, the show never stops. It's just like the show all the time. They're just not recording. But the same conversations about the
we
same
were
movies
friends
and
for
things go
15
on
years
forever.
before we started the podcast, so this is just it.
Yeah,
I mean, there are times when we're talking about something for 5 minutes, and then we're like, wait, save it for the show.
Save it for the show.
We don't want to do that all the time.
No.
But we really can talk about nothing forever. For
Yeah,
7 years.
For absolutely forever.
So forever.
So
what did we do?
We did a lot today. We walked. We saw every single booth.
Every
we saw
single booth
everything
there
that
is.
was here in the entire show. We covered it all, and that was fun. We went and saw William Shatner.
We did on Brian's recommendation because the panels were never huge here, and I think they're adding in more panels, which is good. So we haven't seen William Shatner do a panel in years.
No, in years.
I was just saying, it was 23. I figured it out while I was sitting here. It was 23 years since the last time I've been in a room and watched him speak, and it was kind of funny I remembered that way because it was just a parade of. I mean, it's 20 minutes that incident 23 years ago. It was 20 minutes of people asking him Star Trek questions that he didn't know the answer to. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was great. I'm so glad you had the idea for us to go.
It was about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's about 45 minutes. He talked for like 20, just telling stories and playing them.
We're doing.
I've seen him talk like 4 times in the last year, and he never repeats a story. Never repeats a story.
And he sits down and he's like, so what am I doing? And then he thinks, and he just goes off on something about a motorcycle.
We looked him up. He's 88 years old.
It's crazy.
And he just shot a documentary
ripped
driving
for 45
a motorcycle.
minutes, and then it was like somebody gave him the sign, and he was like, okay, I'm out of here.
And he's riding motorcycles from Chicago to L.A. and filming it without a production company funding it. It's like insane stuff that he's talking about.
All kinds of. I mean, say what you want about this guy, and George Takei will say plenty, but you got to give the guy credit. I mean, he's just doesn't stop. He's entertaining. So what are you gonna do?
And so I was thrilled that we got to do that because I don't know how many more opportunities we're going to have to do that with him, and it was great. And I was just so happy that we got to do that. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then
we went upstairs, and you got Nichelle Nichols' autograph.
We got Nichelle Nichols. She's on her final tour of doing shows, so I figured I hadn't gotten her, so we got her. Then we went for Mexican food.
Yes, had a couple
and
of.
Derryl joined us.
Derryl.
Hey, how are you doing?
Excellent. So, and then we had a couple of margaritas. Came back here and sat in the lobby for an hour and never turned the recorders on because our guest from last night, Tim Rose, came back. And we had our own private show with him.
It was great.
He talked to us for an hour.
Basically told us every anecdote he has. Actually, I wouldn't even
probably
say that.
not even.
He probably didn't hit the tip of the
From
iceberg.
Star Wars
but
to Howard
all
the
of things
Duck
that we could never record, but it was still awesome to listen to it. The guy has had an incredible career.
Yeah, Muppets and
Howard
all
the
kinds
Duck.
of stuff.
He was Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it just was really cool. I had a good time. He's a great guy.
Yeah, really.
And then he introduced us to one of his friends.
Yeah, and I think we'd still be talking to him and not recording if Mike Quinn hadn't have come by. But then Mike Quinn, who played Nien Nunb in Star Wars and has done a million other amazing things, came by and he sat down and recorded with us. So, and I guess we can just jump right into that interview right here.
There you go.
The Regular Joe's podcast.
Yes, the Regular Joe's podcast.
The Regular Joe.
We are huge Star Wars fans.
Ah, brilliant. Me too.
Well, I would hope so.
Me too.
So, Mike Quinn, correct?
Correct. All day, all night.
So, for the few of our listeners that don't know who you are or what you've done, can you just give us like the high level?
Okay. Yeah, I'm a puppeteer, creature performer, actor, producer, director, writer. Animator. I don't know what else I've done.
Is that
I
all?
can't remember. That's all. Slacker. I eat food and I breathe and walk. And yes, what else have I done? I am a Muppet performer. I work on Star Wars, and I'm known for the character Nien Nunb. So that kind of that
amazing. And Nien Nunb has had a resurgence in new trilogy, which is great to see.
He's around.
Yeah.
He's around, and he's one of the few surviving rebel.
That's true. Yes, which is awesome.
I'm sure you can't tell us anything, so we won't ask. But it's exciting to know that you've been on set and doing things.
He made it onto the Falcon at the end of The Last Jedi,
which is awesome.
Which was great.
7 or 8 or 9 of us or something that the original that made it on there, which is amazing. Only because I think they forgot to kill me off.
Well, they killed just about everybody else also.
And they forgot about me. It's like, oh, we're gonna have to put him on the Falcon at the okay, let's get him in there. And we
were just talking to Tim about how Akbar went out.
Yeah, that was swift.
Yes, it was.
Swift and harsh.
And unceremonial.
We missed dear Akbar.
Yes.
I assisted Tim with Akbar in Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So yeah, he's an old friend of mine now.
Yeah.
But yes, Nien Nunb lives. It's incredible. How did that happen?
Well, we're happy that it did. So, do you have a favorite story, or is there something
a favorite moment? Because you guys blew up the second Death Star, and
you and
Lando were there. And
did a favorite moment of story? I have so many, and I can't right now. It's what is it? Nighttime.
It's late. It is late here at Rhode Island ComicCon.
I have loads of stories, and it's like, where do I begin? I mean, that's the thing. So I don't know. Yeah.
No, okay.
I mean, it was. Yeah, I can certainly say that it was just amazing, and Billy D. Williams was really great to me when we did the original scene, and George Lucas actually directed that scene with the Millennium Falcon in the cockpit.
Oh, wow.
Which it's not really documented, but they were running a bit behind on the film at that time, and Richard Marquand went on to film the the Rancor scenes, I think on stage 5 or something. So they sort of double shot. So George Lucas directed the cockpit scenes with the Falcon. So,
that's great.
So people don't really know.
So
that.
you were directed by the maker yourself.
Absolutely. And I remember showing up the morning of the shoot, and I had my pages of my script. And, of course, the script says, Nien Nunb chatters a liquid alien language, and then Lando had his lines written down there, and then Nien Nunb said something else in alien, and then Lando replied. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, I kind of need to act with intent, and I knew that it was going to be replaced with some crazy, unknown at that time, alien language. So,
right.
And we're just putting down guide voices. The Falcon itself is being rocked around by stagehands, and the sound is not, it's a guide sound. So what I did was I wrote my what I thought he would be saying in English, in my script in pencil, though, not in pen, in pencil. And I showed it to George. He was sitting in his director's chair, and in the morning of the shoot, and I said, Can I say these things in the script, that make sense for the acting and the intent, and they're logical to what Lando's responses were? And he just kind of looked it over and then looked at me and said, yeah, sure, So I was mic'd up and everything, so I just spoke all my lines in English. And it was great.
I wonder if that's ever shown up anywhere, because there's some famous footage of Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca
there is,
saying, that old man's mad.
Isn't
and I love
great?
Watching that footage.
Yeah. It probably exists somewhere in the Lucas archives. However, when we shot Ten Nunb in the B-Wing, which was Nien Nunb in a different hat and green shirt, you can see that in one of the DVD extras, I think.
Oh, really? That's cool.
We were just kind of improvising stuff, and you can hear my voice in the background in that.
I've watched all
English.
Those extras, so I'm sure I've seen that, but I'm going to have to go back and check it out.
And you'll hear me just saying random stuff,
right.
With my London accent, and it never got used. It was cut, so they never voiced it or anything. So there's that. Yeah.
Was the character a full application or mask, but did it have any animatronics to it as well?
So originally, he was when they first created the sculpt at ILM. Dave Carson, I think, sculpted that at Lucasfilm there, But he was just a background alien, so he didn't have any. He was just a pull-on mask. He didn't have any articulation in the face at all. So when George pulled him to be kind of featured with Lando about halfway through the film, I suggested that maybe we make him into a puppet to Phil Tippett, who was heading up the creature shop.
Right.
And we turned him into a hand puppet so that he could move his mouth and work him like a Muppet. So we did a little film test, and George Lucas approved that and liked that. So then I was saying, well, you can add little eye blinks in there with cable controls and wiggle his ears and stuff like that. So they built that into him and shipped him off to California. And 2 weeks later, he came back sort of mechanized as a sort of a semi-animatronic hand puppet.
Oh, really? So you weren't wearing it? Or?
So in the Millennium Falcon in Return of the Jedi, he was essentially a large Muppet, but with cable-controlled eye blinks and ear wiggles, which was performed both by Tim Rose and Simon Williamson on cable controls.
Oh, wow.
So I had two assistants. And my left hand, I'm left-handed, so my left hand was inside the mouth. I was laying flat on my back in the Falcon. They had to cut the base of the seat out to make me fit, which was scary to them because they were like, "Oh, these are 1973 race car seats. We can't get these again. Are you sure you really want to cut that out?" It's like, it's the only way I can fit in there. And I had a little monitor so I could see the camera, and we worked him. And my right hand was in his right hand, operating the steering yoke in the Falcon, and the left hand was just a dummy fake hand rigged onto the onto the yoke. So that's how he was worked. And then in the new movies, he was an animatronic mask that I could see through his eyes.
Oh, right, I had read that it was that you were in it in the new movies.
And now I had legs and I could run around and interact with everybody and see through his eyes when they didn't fog up, But and then I could fall over and bump into things, and so it was a whole the new trilogy is a whole different way of performing him. But I'm still trying to apply the same sort of thought processes and the same. To me, Nien Nunb is not a typical Star Wars creature. He's not a creature, He's more sort of I see him more as a
like a humanoid.
He's quite human, but he's also a little bit cartoony. He's a bit. I approach him more as an animation, sort of very clean sort of poses, and his eyes go wide, and he's very sort of pose to pose, almost like animation in a way. So I still, with the puppet, I approached him in that way, and I still approach him that way when I'm wearing the costume. So he's not sort of a writhing, squinting, blinking creature, but he's he's like almost the most cartoony or sort of clean to me creature in Star Wars.
I totally see what you're saying with that. I think
more cartoony. So he's sort of an anomaly to me in the Star Wars world.
He is the most human of the alien types, I would think.
Maybe, but he's quite likable. I always, when I first saw him, I thought he kind of reminded me of Dopey and Snow White. He had those big ears and the,
oh my God, that's
the big
so true.
eyes. So I was 17 at the time when we shot that. So,
really? Wow.
So I was, he's got a kind of demeanor in the movie where he's like, let's go get him, and that's really funny. And let's blow up this Death Star, and I'm not afraid of anything. That was kind of like how I was at the time.
Yeah.
And
there's,
now,
there's
here we are.
youthful enthusiasm conveyed by that character.
And so it's funny that. But now that, we're 35, absolutely, we're 35 years on, or 37 years on, he's older like I am, and there's more at stake. And there's he understands that there's lives at stake.
Right.
So
you should tell them his species lives like 300 years. So you could be in every movie going forward.
I think
forever.
The minimum lifespan is about 150. So he's about middle-aged now.
He's got plenty
time
to go.
He's still a young guy.
So given where we saw him at the end of The Last Jedi, is it fair to assume we might be seeing him again in a couple of months?
There were a handful of rebels that survived in the Millennium. Who was that, by the way? That just
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you knew him.
We thought maybe you knew him.
He went that way. I thought he was.
He went into the bar.
I thought he was
okay.
maybe another Star Wars.
Yeah,
we
sorry.
assumed that was a friend of yours.
Somebody just came by and we don't know who that is.
Oh, jeez, I thought he was like the IG-88 guy.
Clearly, he
something.
didn't.
No, I knew it wasn't Bill Hargraves.
There are four of us were having microphones, and
Yeah, that's right.
didn't
He wanted in
understand
on the fun.
what we were doing.
But
So
we'd much
anyway,
rather talk to you.
So what was that again?
So just try to
no, he
understand where maybe we've got a movie coming out in 2 months. Are we going? Can you
So-
say if you may show up in that
well,
movie?
logically, he would be because
Yes.
he was one of the few survivors
Yep.
that made it onto the Falcon, and the people that made it onto the Falcon are the ones that.
That's
that
true.
Right.
I may have to
continue
go
the-
back and watch that scene.
You'll
Even though I
see
said
him
I
with
wouldn't watch that movie again.
he's with Finn at the end in the
Yes,
Falcon,
yes.
and I'm schooling him on how to fly an X-wing. Is what I'm doing. I was trying to crack him up and make John Boyega laugh, which I succeeded in a few takes in doing.
Oh, great.
And
Well, and again, I'm not asking you this question. I'm just making it as a statement. But we've heard and read that Wedge will be back in this movie as well. I don't know if that's officially been announced, but we've read that he has said that. So I'm hoping that that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
It sounds. I don't know either. But
I
it
would
sounds,
love for that. I would love to see
correct.
that. Yeah.
And so that's exciting, and we have Billy D. Williams back finally, and I'm really excited about that. So yes, logically, of course,
Right.
Yeah. But I really do think they just forgot to kill Nien Nunb off, and they had to think, okay, we got to bring him back into the Falcon
really
at the
cleaning
end.
the slate
Maybe
with that last
maybe
film.
they
he's
kinda
really
did.
the star of the whole
So-
11 movies, and we just don't know it.
He's up there.
Yeah.
He's up there now.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly this is his fourth movie now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's. I'm very excited about the rise of Skywalker, and I had a lot of fun working on that film. I was involved in other characters as well.
Oh, great.
So, which was nice. And I really love what choices they made about moving forward with the story and the characters. I mean, I think it was very smart and satisfying and respectful. So I'm really...
Thank you for saying all of those words.
Well, it's what I saw and what I witnessed and what I
That's
felt,
great.
and it's what JJ articulated to us all himself,
Yep.
to the crew and the cast.
Yep.
And I think he didn't have an easy job.
He did
No,
not.
we say
We-
that all
we-
the time.
we say this
He
all
had
the time.
a
He-
big
He had a
job on this
huge
movie.
task.
I mean,
and
a lot to resolve, and a lot of
we
yeah.
could not imagine anyone better suited to doing it than him.
Well,
and we're really just
he understood
Yeah.
what the weight of the situation, I think.
Yeah.
And I have so much. I mean, everybody loved him so much and
Yeah.
loved working with him, and he was so kind, and any of us could go up to him and talk with him about certain things, and
Dave and I met him briefly once,
Yeah,
and he
he-
came across as a
He's just-
super nice
well,
guy.
he's very smart,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
very talented,
And thoughtful. He doesn't
yeah.
just answer a
No.
question without sort of taking
Yep.
it in and
It
thinking
was
about it.
before the Force Awakens
Oh.
had come out,
Oh, okay.
but he was already
He
involved.
probably,
Yeah.
Well, he was already.
He was
starting
already
to
involved, yeah.
Overlap for the next movie
Yeah.
and stuff, and I know he originally said, I'm done with the Force Awakens.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
And I knew that he wouldn't be able to do the Last Jedi because it's too
Right.
soon. He can't. A human can't do that much. But I was always hoping he would return for the final. And when I heard that was going to happen, I thought, yeah, we're in good hands. I mean, it's a hard job to do, and sure, not everybody will be happy, but most people, I think, will be.
You can't please everybody, but
Well, you can't. But I think he's smart enough, and he's a fan himself, and he loves this stuff. He really does, and he cares deeply about everything.
Right.
And I think he is very smart, and the film certainly evolved as we moved through the shooting. Because they just kept trying to make things better and plus things and make tweaks and adjustments as we went along, which is great because they're not locked into a film from day one of filming.
Sure,
right.
But they're okay with thinking, okay, this isn't quite working, or let's just tweak this, and this needs to be stronger. And you do little reshoots and pickups and things like that to make
Right.
it better, which is a great way to make a film. It's a very organic, open, sort of collaborative way to make a film. And that's having the smarts and the confidence to know, to not be afraid to do that. And that's Kathleen Kennedy, and it's JJ. And, I would do anything if they asked me to do anything, I would do it because I trust them implicitly. Right. I really, really do. And, it was such a great experience for me. It really was. I had
awesome.
Such a great time. And I'm certainly excited to see this when it finally pops. To me, it's like giving birth.
Yeah.
You don't know what your baby's going to look like until it comes out.
We have such high hopes as fans.
And I think there's a lot of great things for us all. There's some Easter eggs in there for everybody. And I think they came up with the most amazing, smartest solutions to where we were left off with the last movie that I know of anyway. So
and it couldn't have been an easy job stepping into that, especially with Carrie passing.
And
that just made it so much harder than it already was going to be.
Yeah, that was. It wasn't easy. It was a wonderful thing to be a part of. And Billy Lord, of course, was part of all that process, and she was, of course, just amazing and lovely and real and helped us all with that.
Yeah.
So that sort of legitimized it all for us and told us, we're doing the right thing, we're okay. And it was quite moving and stunning and amazing. I'm certainly pleased with the choices that were made.
Right.
I couldn't have certainly.
It makes us very happy to hear
these
that.
are all the things we needed to hear.
This is just my own experience without
but still,
really saying anything.
But we trust you.
You're not saying anything.
I'm not really saying anything.
You aren't.
No,
but if you were going strictly no comment at this point, we'd be very worried. How do you feel about the film? No comment.
Well,
it'd be a little scary to us.
No,
so.
I mean, I don't know, the whole story or anything, and I don't want to. When I go see the movie, it'll be the same as you seeing it for the first time. I've not seen any edits or anything. I don't know what's going to be in or what's out, and what other bits they filmed when I wasn't around, which was a lot. So,
but you got to feel the vibe on the set. You were there, so that's helpful.
I loved it. I just loved being around every day and around the cast and the crew and the support team and the CFX Neil Scanlon's crew were great with us all.
Yeah.
And it was every day was such a gift. We did some location work and mostly studio, but I think we took about 12 months entirely from the first day of shooting to the final day of pickups. With the gaps in between. But I think it's just going to be epic, and I think we'll all cry and laugh, and I think for the most part, most of us will be pretty. I think we'll be happy with it. Just from what I know.
That's awesome.
I'm super excited.
Yeah.
And,
that's great.
And it's something that I don't ever take for granted. Being a part of, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So I hope I get to do this again at some point.
Right.
In the future.
Now with Disney Plus, there's a chance
There
Mandalorian
is.
goes well, and that all looks good. We could have a Nien Nunb series, It's just
I'd like to see him pop up in the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, that would be great too.
Why not? He should have been in Solo, but we'll let that
yeah,
go. We'll
yeah.
let that go.
We don't know again where he's been before, at what point he comes into the story.
I know. He was around
a lot
as a smuggler and all kinds of things.
Lots of potential there.
So
The Mandalorian. You could be in The Mandalorian. You were in the Return of the Jedi.
He was.
Gotta do
it's
something.
only a
in
few
between.
years after.
He was around before and during and after, and there's all this backstory where he rescued everyone from Alderaan for Leia and stuff. So which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
So you said you were 17 when you made Return of the Jedi?
I was, yeah.
So I have a question. Maybe you remember, maybe you don't, but do you remember how you felt when you first saw the fact that you were made into an action figure? We're all action figure collectors, and our friend Derryl, who's sitting here, worked in the toy business for almost 20 years.
That's so funny, yeah. I remember
do you remember what that was like?
Yeah, I do. I remember going to the into one of the shopping centres in England and seeing the first range of Jedi figures on the racks, and there he was, and it's like, wow.
That's terrific.
It's like, it was kind of surreal, it was sort of me, but it wasn't, it's like, wow, look at that, and I had to buy it, of course. And it's like, oh, there's that guy that I did, and my goodness, he must be somebody now, because when you make this stuff, you're kind of working in a bit of a void, and it's sort of a black hole in a way, you do it and you move on. But then to see him several months, 6 months or whatever it was later, or 9 months, as a toy with slightly different spelling in his name.
Right.
And it's like, wow, there he is. He's actually this thing that exists outside of me now. He's his own thing at that point.
It's physical at that point.
Yeah. And of course, for a lot of people over here, he was a mail away, wasn't he, in the States?
He started out that way,
Yeah.
But also that kids all over everywhere are going to be making up their own stories and incorporating. It's just like,
it's interesting because people just really, I guess, like the look of that character and the idea of him.
It's a great design.
There's an approachability to him.
Yeah, he's not really a typical creature.
He's not threatening, and he's joyous. I mean, there's that. Yeah.
And
that's the thing. It's just
which I just threw in the laugh. That was improvised.
Oh, that's great.
Right?
That's just blazoned in my memory.
And then, it's a thing that you do. You're like, oh, okay, I'll do that laugh thing that we do as a puppeteer. And then they cut it in, and Ben Burt had to match a laugh on top of that with the voice guy. So. But it's amazing. It really is, and I do like the little guy.
It's endured a long time.
Yeah.
So I do have to apologize for something. The latest version of the Nien Nunb figure that we did apparently was too short. So we got a lot of...
No, actually, you know what? It was correct because I'm 5'6".
This is going to vindicate you.
And the new one was a scan of me in the costume, so it's actually correct. He is supposed to be that height. If you look at the descriptions of how high the character actually is, I think there's like an inch difference between what they say he is and what I am. So he's actually not the 6'2" guy that he is in the games and in the other action figures. He is supposed to be about my height. I think the head was scaled down because he had kind of a large head. They scaled down the head a little bit for the new action figure from The Force Awakens, but it is actually a scaled down version of the correct version of me. It's a 3D scan of me in the suit, so it is actually correct.
You don't know how happy that makes me.
and it makes me happy because it's like a little mini me.
That's great.
It was correct, and people
controversy over. Fans, you heard it here.
Darryl oversaw that toy line at Hasbro.
It's me. It's a scaled down version with my little belly sticking out, and I'm short. I'm a short guy.
There you go, fans. Now you heard it.
Yeah, so that's right. The head was scaled a little bit just to make it kind of proportionally nicer. Yeah. But other than that, it's correct. It is actually it's the most accurate version of Nien Nunb as an action figure. So there you go.
Did the character have that name in the script, or because some characters were named like after they were made into action figures, right?
Yeah, good question. Well, no, it was the spelling was changed slightly from the script to the action figure.
Oh, really?
Originally, he was a background alien with no. He wasn't going to be in the Falcon. He was literally a background character, and he was just a pull-on mask. He didn't have any movement in the face at all, and he was. He didn't have a name, and I still have the sheet from the Creature Shop from '82, and he was literally just number 9 on the list. He didn't have a name. Alien number 9. And so the light bulb goes on. And so then when George pulled him out, it was like April, May time, halfway through the film, George says, I want that guy to be Lando's co-pilot. Lando, we can't use Chewie. He's gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
So Lando needs another alien co-pilot. So George liked the look of that mask. So then he pulled him out of the chorus line, the background chorus, to be the co-pilot. And so then they changed the name from number 9 to Nien Nunb. And then when the toy came out, they changed the spelling to be a little funkier to make it more alien.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's
why
awesome.
That's why he's Nien Nunb, not Nien Nunb or Nien
Nunb.
So there you go.
We have an episode
it's
title,
very
guys.
And I still have that piece of paper that has him as number 9.
Oh, that's great.
Alien number 9.
There you go.
That's amazing.
So
I love that.
It's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, it's great.
It's awesome.
It's so weird and funky, but
because I've heard Mark Hamill interviewed where he talked about on the set they would just make up names for the aliens because they didn't have names in the script.
Call them something. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So it's just default. It's just like, oh well, what are we going to go? Oh, quick, let's do that. So
that's so funny.
So number 9.
Love it.
Come in, number 9. Your time is up.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's great.
We can't thank you enough for sitting down and doing this with us. This is great, and
Absolutely.
we're big. Like I said before, we're big fans. So we're so excited for the new movie to come out.
Me too.
Can't wait.
Honestly, yeah. And thank you very much. Yeah. I'll be just like you, watching it for the first time with my mouth hanging open, and I will laugh and cry, and it'll be amazing.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so Mike's actually still here talking to fans. He's awesome. I mean, he again, we feel like we're taking up too much of these people's time, but he was awesome. He told us probably stuff he probably shouldn't have said. He's in the new movie.
But what's amazing, too, is that we probably talked to him for a half hour after we stopped recording and heard other great stories that would have been great on the podcast, but that was just for us, too.
And he does all kinds of stuff. He's still doing Muppets and works Kermit and stuff. I don't know if that's on the show or off the show, but he was telling us about he's doing Muppets on new commercials that are out there right now.
And just a super nice guy. And,
terrific.
Just having people that have been on a Star Wars set, let alone 4 Star Wars sets, sit down with us is just amazing to me. So
I will never forget Alien Number 9.
Alien Number 9, that's right.
Yes.
Great story.
That's awesome. That was awesome.
And then
Brian's dressed up as a Dharma Initiative maintenance robotics worker. Sorry,
he's got a set of Dharma Initiative coveralls on,
and probably the cutest girl we've seen at the show was like
fawning over him.
Points at me and goes, "You," and I'm like, I want to look behind me because I was like, she cannot be pointing at me because I mean, she was what 27,
somewhere around there,
30 years older than she is.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm like, what? And I realized she's like, your uniform. It's like, what? She's like, I want to get one of those uniforms. Where'd you get that uniform? And we start talking about Lost. She's the biggest Lost fan.
Well, what I heard her say was, I need to get my picture with you.
And she had a picture taken with me. And then she started telling me about going to Hawaii on the Lost tour and recreating scenes from Lost on all the same locations in Honolulu where they shot them on Lost.
That is a big Lost fan.
So was she being Kate in those
scenes?
scenes?
She's been tracking down the actors and the writers to ask them what scenes meant and how the ending really went and what the last year of the show meant. And she's just...
Everybody has a thing.
She's this amazing, just serious Lost fan.
See, and you made her day. So that was great.
She showed me a video of her running across the beach being chased by a smoke monster. And there was a guy with a smoke monster puppet in front of the camera going like he's chasing her down the beach as the smoke monster.
Wow. What was she wearing in the photo?
It was just shorts and a T-shirt.
Okay. Sorry.
Wow.
She was super cute.
Again, we all have our things.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I went to the location where they built the first Enterprise and took a picture standing on the curb just like they did when the Enterprise rolled out of its
We've
shop
all done that. You've gone to the firehouse from Ghostbusters.
Who are we to judge?
The garden from
not at all. But it just, like I said, it was just interesting that we were in the middle of this interview and see this woman just go berserk. And it was like...
That was an odd experience, yeah.
Brian is a fan.
Yes.
So, well, it was like Brian had a Batman moment, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So another incredibly successful Rhode Island ComicCon in the books.
Always different and always a fun time. So you can't go wrong with
we
stuff.
We say it every year. Favorite show of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great hanging out with you guys. It's so much
thank
fun.
you so much for coming out for
we
this.
have so much in common. It's
having
amazing.
had you on the show a couple times via Skype, it was great to finally meet you in person and hang out more.
Terrific.
And it's so... a love fest all the way around. And Derryl.
Definitely great. It was great to meet you, Brian. Definitely a kindred spirit, interested in all the same things. And, you had a different twist. I loved hearing all your maker stories, actually, off air. Pretty amazing
and
stuff.
we heard some incredible stories from Brian that we will share on a future podcast.
Yeah, we're going to get Brian back on.
He is the onion that we've been peeling the layers on and finding out all kinds of cool stuff.
and there's a lot of layers there. So
he's got some nerd stories that go way back.
There are big advantages of living in Southern California.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So look forward to that, listeners. That coming up in the coming weeks, you'll get some of those.
So, from Rhode Island ComicCon, the Omni Providence, thanks for listening.
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 Okay,
So-
before we even do the intro, here's Lou Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno
As
standing
I've
in the
said in
lobby.
the past, he's dead to me because I asked him for a tag at one point, maybe 5 years ago at some con, and he was not friendly to me. So
Really?
yeah, I told you that.
Yeah, I
It
remember
was
that
at-
story.
Pay attention to what
I don't
you're saying.
remember the convention, but I'm like, Lou, can I just ask
Well,
you?
it could have been any convention because
Actually-
he goes to all of them.
He was setting up. He's like, I'm setting up. Don't bother me.
It's not like he said, "Come back in 10 minutes and I'll
I
do
said,
it for you."
hey. So he's dead to me, but he's standing right there. If he happens to walk by, we could ask him a question. But
Don't
I-
know.
yeah,
I'm
what's up with
distracted
that?
because I was looking at Lou Ferrigno, who's
Yeah.
not as big as I thought he would
No,
be.
He
see, I
used to
said
be
this
bigger.
earlier today.
I
think
can't
he
even
sh-
hear him
That's
from
the
here.
I think he shrunk.
Okay. I was saying this earlier today. I think you need an
Who's
upshot
that
whenever
dude?
you're looking at
Upshot.
Lou Ferrigno. I think
But,
you need to squat a
they say
little
you,
bit.
you shrink as you age,
Yeah,
right? So
but
maybe
not
he's
like,
just,
not that much. Okay. Okay. Oh,
Daryl wants
did
us to
Daryl
move.
just kick out the people at that
Daryl
other
just-
couch?
just did.
let's move.
Oh, okay. Well,
Daryl
hang on.
lost.
You can't just say let's move while we're recording.
What about Lou? What if Lou wants to record
What if
with
Lou
us?
wants to record? Daryl's
don't-
taking the plant, the shrubbery.
Daryl's moving the plants. Okay, we're doing a company move.
All right. I will hit stop.